Delete. Jeez, all these flame messages. First with Hannah Montana, and now just because I didn't think Glee was that bad. You know, not everyone has to have the same opinions of everyone else online.
Yeah, you made that clear.
Gah! Hewy Toonmore! How do you pop in like that?
What? Don't you know that every reviewer has a remote that allows them to cut into others' video feeds?
I didn't get a manual.
Well, that's not important. The important thing is, I've got a problem with you.
This is about the Olive the Other Reindeer review, isn't it?
What do you think?
Look, I apologize like you guys wanted, and that was a requested review. Look, okay, to make it up, how about we do a review together?
I'm listening.
We can go after any bad cartoon you like. Okay, maybe a good one. And as a show of good faith, I'll let you choose it.
Can it be something from the Disney afternoon?
Anything you like. Gargoyles, Tailspin, Aladdin.
Mighty Ducks.
Cartoon critic named after greatest band ever say what? Welcome to TV Trash. I'm Rowdy C, and joining me today for this special crossover is the host of Hewy's animated movie reviews, the one and only Hewy Toonmore.
Hey everyone, I'm Hewy Toonmore, reviewer of animated films from old or recent, whether they be hand-drawn, stop-motion, or computer-generated.
By the mid-1990s, it seemed the Disney afternoon was past its prime. Gone were the likes of DuckTales, Chippendales Rescue Rangers, and Darkwing Duck, and instead we had Schnookums and Meat, which I still hope to review someday, and Quack Pack, which many fans have filed away into Duck discontinuity.
But there were some gems buried underneath the trash, such as Aladdin the Animated Series, Hercules the Animated Series, Jungle Cubs, Recess, Pepper Ann, and of course, Gargoyles.
But there was also an animated show that came out just as Disney was getting into the sports business. But first, a little backstory. In the early 90s, Walt Disney Pictures released the Mighty Ducks movie about a youth hockey team that Emilio Estevez turned from sad sack losers into city champions. It was another sleeper hit children's movie, and it led Disney to found their own NHL team, the Mighty Ducks of Anaheim. And after 3 losing seasons, they decided a cartoon show was the best way to promote it.
And it was awesome!
Awesome? Really?
Yeah, man, it was.
You fool! Have you learned nothing from Pro Stars? How can an animated series based off a professional sports team possibly be considered good?
Like this.
Here comes the Mighty Ducks, fighting for gold. Let's hear it for the Mighty Ducks. Time to rock and roll. Let's go, let's go. Let's rock. Mighty Ducks, let's rock. Let's hear it for the Mighty Ducks.
Okay, that is a pretty awesome start.
Unlike other television adaptations, this show separates itself completely from the movies and takes on a whole new concept. A group of vigilante alien ducks from another universe come to Earth in order to stop a race of evil reptilian overlords from taking over the world.
Of course!
Alien ducks from another universe come into Earth and fight off reptilian overlords. Now, where have I heard that before?
Howard the Duck.
Oh. Right.
So, how do you go from an expansion hockey team to crime-fighting ducks from outer space?
Well, I'd have to say that these guys are partly to blame.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, heroes in a half shell. Turtle
speaking. This was when anthropomorphic animal hero teams were the rage. The success of the Ninja Turtles led to the likes of Biker Mice from Mars, Cowboys of Moo Mesa, Street Sharks, Road Rovers, and Extreme Dinosaurs. Disney just took the concept and added team sports to it.
And in case you didn't notice, this is like Disney's 4th duck-themed show.
So it's alien duck refugees, intergalactic monsters, and sports. Yeah, maybe I can get behind this.
Glad to hear that, Rowdy. Let's get started.
Oh, a spectacular save by the Mighty Ducks goalie, Wildly!
So the series starts with a Mighty Ducks game where no one in Anaheim apparently has a problem with giant talking ducks playing hockey. But that's probably normal for the weirdos in Orange County.
You just keep piling on Southern California, don't ya?
I'm from Texas. It's my nature.
Yeah, but you're also the guys who gave us this loser.
Let's not go there.
We then see a man named Phil Palmfeather, voiced by Jim Belushi, who is apparently the Ducks' agent and explains where the Ducks came from to Captain Cleghorn of the Anaheim Police Department, who is suspicious of the Ducks' motives.
6 hockey-playing ducks appear out of nowhere, and suddenly 6 vigilantes in comic book get-up start showing up whenever there's trouble. Spill it, where are they from?
Whole nother universe. And in this universe is a planet inhabited entirely by ducks. They called it Puckworld, in honor of their greatest hero, the legendary hockey player, Drake Duquesne.
Yeah, I hear there's a neighboring planet inhabited by bears who play baseball.
Here we meet 3 of our main characters, Wildwing, his younger brother Nosedive, and his best friend Canard. Only 2 of them get the cool names. They're trying to tell us something, aren't they?
Drake Duquesne invents this crazy mask, a goalie mask, that can see through their invisible shields. He kicks their scaly tails clear into another dimension, and the crowd goes wild! Yeah!
I've heard all the stories about Drake Duquesne's masked dive. They're just legends.
Legends? Wake up and smell yourself!
Relax, baby brother. The Saurian Empire vanished centuries ago.
And right on cue, we meet the Saurian overlords, led by Dragonis, and good freaking night! It's like the Dragon Lord from Ninja Turtles' Next Mutation, if done right! I mean, the flaming nostrils, the yellow pupilless eyes, a cape and shoulder pad combo that actually looks menacing? He could only be more threatening if he was voiced by...
After untold centuries, I, Dragonis, the last of the Saurian overlords, have escaped the dimensional limbo in which my ancestors were imprisoned. Now the descendants of Drake Duquesne shall pay for what he did to my ancestors.
Yes, Cyber Squad aside, there may not be a better villain voice out there than Tim Curry. Unless they paired him up with Tony J or something.
This is a mistake, Lord Dragonis. If we do not use the dark powers of our ancestors, I predict a dismal outcome.
Impressed enough yet?
Well, unless Disney also managed to bring in Frank Welker, and he's one of the other henchmen, isn't he?
You ask whether I have partaken of a duck feast? Well, now that you mention it, no.
Okay, how about Clancy Brown? You know, the Kurgan from Highlander and Lex Luthor in the Superman animated series? They'll never get...
No, Duck. You're lunch meat.
I'm not worthy! I'm not worthy!
Just goes to show you, never underestimate the power of Disney. These are Dragonis' main henchmen. Siege, the strongman/weapons builder, Chameleon, the wisecracking shapeshifter, and Wraith, a warlock with control over the dark arts. Don't you just love Disney villains?
Dragonis' forces use their Transformer dragon ships to conquer Puckworld and enslave the people until Canard returns as part of the resistance that includes Top Commando and weapons specialist Mallory.
I hate machines.
Hands down, my favorite character.
Former jewel thief turned Robin Hood, Duke L'Orange.
This food belongs to the people, not that tyrant Dragonis.
Hands down, everyone's favorite character. resident genius and inventor Tanya,
Scratch one oversized toaster oven.
Wow, this is starting to sound like Ninja Turtles.
You mean like how she's the Donatello of the team?
Yup, and the fact that Kennard's voice actor, Townsend Coleman, also voiced Michelangelo from the original cartoon.
I found it, Wild Wing, in an ancient tomb in the mountains they call Twin Beaks. Drake Duquesne's mask.
And finally, Grin, a cross between Buddha and Hulk Hogan. Ironic, since Brad Garrett voiced both Grin and the Hulkster on Rockin' Wrestling.
Pain is an illusion. An illusion that really, really hurts.
The Ducks break into and raid Dragonis' fortress using Drake Duquesne's old mask and the Arrow Wing, which is like an even cooler version of Darkwing Duck's Thunderquack. But Dragonis and his henchmen escape in their ship, the Raptor, and warp through a dimensional gateway.
I'll destabilize the gateway. Release the world!
If that thing gets big enough, it could swallow the entire ship.
I'm gonna close that thing down. Are you crazy? It's the only way.
Take it, Wild Wing! Take it! Hang on! Take it. You're team captain now.
No!
He sacrificed himself to save us.
Wow, who knew that Disney could get dark in a pilot episode?
You did see the Gargoyles pilot, right?
Oh yeah. Man, how did I not turn goth from all of this?
The Ducks then escape the wormhole and arrive on Earth, Anaheim, California to be exact, and meet up with Phil at the Anaheim Pond Arena, whose old team left town and is now controlled by...
The Destroyers. Worst goons in hockey. They've been kicked out of every league.
Okay, I'm not a sports fan, but what kind of professional hockey team honestly called themselves the Destroyers? I mean, look at their uniforms! They look like rejects from Mad Max or something. Hell, their leader looks kind of like Boa Bobo from the Double Dragon movie.
And why do I get the feeling that's only the beginning of the creative liberties they'll take? The Ducks chase the Destroyers out of the arena by beating them in a hockey game and manage to enter the NHL, despite them not having enough players for a full roster and the fact that the NHL doesn't allow a goalie to be captain. Funny how they still get the Mighty Ducks references right, like the uniforms and naming Wild Wing after the team mascot, but almost nothing else is accurate. But then again, this is from the company that thought this was how Major League ball players should dress.
Their contract allowed them to use all the profits to build a headquarters underneath the pond.
Holy crap! They built that thing from their royalties? Not even the real Mighty Ducks make that much money!
I can't help but wonder how many times a tour guide in real life had to tell kids there isn't really a secret base under the ice.
Using their new assault vehicle, the Migrator, they start hunting down Dragonis, but not before becoming good Samaritans and fighting crimes in Anaheim, thus becoming both hockey stars and superheroes.
That's where trash like you belongs.
So apparently Disney did learn from pro stars and figured out how to do it right. They also use weapons that shoot pucks, and I would say how lame that sounds, but I know a guy who took one of those things to the skull. He still sometimes thinks he's General Patton. They once again invade the Raptor. Wild Wing finally gets the courage to use the mask and become captain, and they disable the ship enough that Dragonis is forced to use auxiliary power and go into hiding with the ship's cloaking device.
And thus sets up the premise for the rest of the series, as Dragonis and the Saurians keep trying to find a new power source for the Raptor while trying to destroy the Ducks, and the Ducks trying to stop Dragonis and find a way home. Sounds simple enough.
Sounds like the standard fare for most action cartoons from the 90s, but let's see how this one stacks up on its own merits. Some of the stories are slightly recycled concepts from other shows. There was the shrinking episode that almost every show from the 80s and 90s had, and the third episode involved Nosedive and Duke feuding over a new female duck. But I give the writers credit for having her turn out to be evil. which is what Venus de Milo should have turned out to be. Oh, you liked Venus, didn't you? Well, it takes all kinds.
This is Lucretia Decoy, Dragonis' top spy and the one who's responsible for wiping out half of the resistance on Puckworld. She is voiced by Kath Soucie, better known for her roles on such other cartoons as Tiny Toon Adventures, Rugrats, and of course playing Princess Sally on Sonic SatAM.
Thanks for helping me find the Proteus chip, suckers. Here's where we say goodbye.
Now, I'm beginning to find that lady somewhat less attractive.
Too bad we never get to see her again because Dragonis sends her to Dimensional Limbo after Wild Wing makes it look like she betrayed him. Meanwhile, there were also some creative episodes parodying popular movies and other media, like Pulp Fiction, Mad Max, and even a Dungeons & Dragons parody.
Speaking of which, Rowdy, what was your favorite episode of the series?
As much as I hate to admit, it may be Beak to the Future, even though it was a blatant ripoff of the Ninja Turtles episode Carter the Enforcer, because in addition to the literally snake-like corporate villain Phineas T. Viper, voiced by veteran voice actor Xander Berkeley, it showed a futuristic Phil as a badass revolutionary.
As for me, I'd have to go with Buzz Blitzman Mighty Duck, because it may be the only episode in the series that centers around Mallory. I also love how the title character Buzz was portrayed. Even though he acts like a raging annoying fanboy, he's kidnapped by Dragonis due to the fact that he is a super genius that has come up with a new energy source that can be used to repower the Raptor.
I can also kinda identify with Buzz because he has a crush on Mallory. Like I did at the time. And sort of still do.
If there's one thing I'll say this show was better at than Ninja Turtles, it may be the main villain's personalities. I loved the antagonism between Siege and Chameleon, as well as Wraith's sarcastic wit.
And Siege didn't have one teensy bit.
You lying fake! I never get to have any fun.
And aside from the Saurians, the Ducks had a whole rogues gallery of other villains.
Now, we've already mentioned Lucretia Decoy and Phineas Viper, but there was also Dr. Pretorius, a mad scientist who likes to splice different types of DNA on test subjects, voiced by Matt Frewer.
You may have stopped my robots, but nothing can stop the Slore!
Dr. Droid, a half-man, half-machine that's like Aladdin's Mechanicles, only more insane. Naturally, they'd have the same voice actor, Charlie Adler.
Clear out, foolish face! You pathetic organisms are about to be replaced by machines!
I think we can see why he was worthy of a second episode.
Daddy O'Cool, a deformed beat poet who is into monster trucks, voiced by Jim Cummings.
To the coolest go the spoils.
And Baron von Lichtenstamp, an insane German who hunts the ducks in a Most Dangerous Game parody, voiced by David Hyde Pierce.
I lost my hunt in a wolf hunt, but the wolf lost his head. I lost my leg to a crocodile, and this, a gorilla.
And I give props for the writers throwing in a Hogan's Heroes reference with him.
Oopsie. Sorry, Colonel Clunk. Did we break your bow?
Now we have to talk about their vehicles and weapons, which are totally awesome.
I mean, the Arrowwing is like a cross between an airplane and a spaceship with more firepower than Luke Skywalker's X-Wing could ever hope for. Yes, it has a duck's face, but who friggin' cares?
Don't forget the Duck Cycles, which are the motorbikes that every action series has to have. Of course, being hockey players, they have to have rocket-powered rollerblades. And then there's the Migrator, which is cool enough on its own, but then it goes into battle mode and admittedly puts the Turtle Van to shame. There was also a Mega Migrator that Tanya built to fight Daddy O'Cool after he damaged the original, but it didn't work out so well. Sometimes you really shouldn't mess with a classic.
And finally there's the Duck supercomputer Drake 1, which is kinda like Teletran 1 from Transformers, except it doesn't talk.
And for a Disney show, I was impressed that they actually had a good send-off to it. It involved Dragonus finally getting the crystals he needed to power the Raptor, and not just the ducks, but Phil and Captain Cleghorn teamed up to bring him down. But when Dragonus prepares his Saurian war fleet to invade Earth, they must make a very hard decision.
Gotta destroy that gateway generator, now!
Yeah, but that thing's our only ticket home to Puck World.
We'll be stuck here forever.
I've gotta do it!
Think we'll hear from those creeps again?
That depends. Have we been renewed for another season?
So yeah, it kind of ends like Buffy did, in a way that the fans could continue it in their own minds.
So Rowdy, now that we've basically covered the whole series, what'd you think of it?
Well, the animation is standard Disney high quality, and it included some good CGI, but that was mostly stock footage that seemed like they were saying, "Look what we can do." Some of the stories were reused concepts, but that was pretty common at the time. Still, the characters were entertaining, the episodes were action-packed, and for a show centered around one of Disney's side businesses, there wasn't as much product placement as I feared. I can call this a TV treasure, lost among the less revered years of the Disney afternoon.
I absolutely agree with everything you've just said. I'd like to see the series officially continued in some way. Maybe it could get its own comic book, much like DuckTales, Darkwing Duck, and other Disney afternoon shows did. And it should be atop Disney's list of DVD releases.
Whew. Well, I guess I managed to survive this crossover, Hewy.
Glad to hear it, Rowdy. So, when are you gonna review Dink the Little Dinosaur?
Well, what do you know? I've got a hot date to get ready for, so... Genie! Bow!
I hate it when he does that. Oh well, see you at the movies. Anime movies, that is.
Here come the